Hi everyone, welcome to class. Thank you for joining me on this Wednesday morning, it still is. This is your weekly yoga practice. This is going to be good for all levels, so if you're a beginner, you're welcome to join me in this practice. Um, I'll always give modifications, so most of the time this is going to be really slow. This particular practice will be around 30 minutes, and we'll get our body moving, get our muscles working a little bit before we stretch it all out at the second half of practice. So the first half is going to be a little bit active. You will need a block. If you don't have a block, you can use anything really that you have in your house. So maybe a pillow you can use. I had somebody use a foam roller, just something preferably with a little bit of weight that you can squeeze and squeeze between your legs and things like that. And also, if you don't have anything that you feel like you can use, then you can absolutely do this without a block. So don't feel like you absolutely have to have this to do the practice. It'll still be challenging if you don't have it. This just offers a little bit more of a challenge. The other thing that I would suggest is having a pillow or a bolster. This is a bolster. It's like a yoga pillow, nice and firm. You could even use a couch cushion, a pillow, anything that you have at your house. And this will mainly be for Shavasana. So if you know that you don't like any props for Shavasana, then you don't have to have that prop at all. If you want a strap, you can also use that if you'd like, if you know you need it, but I won't be cueing for it. I'll just be cueing with a block, one block. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started here. Actually in child's pose. So your child's pose can really be however you want it to be. I like to have my knees out as wide as my mat, big toes to touch. Set my butt down onto my heels and reach my arms forward, let my chest sink down. But you can take this however you want it. So if you want your knees together and you want to fold forward over your legs and bring your arms back, you can also come into like a half frog pose and stack your hips over your knees if you'd like and just hang out here. Really whatever feels good. This is the deepest pose, the deepest child's pose that I can get into. And I like to put my forehead down onto the mat. It took me a while before that felt comfortable in my body to put my forehead all the way down. So just know that it might take a while to feel completely, totally comfortable in child's pose. But this is a very grounding pose, and I just want you to settle in, sink in. And I'm not going to go all the way into it, so I can kind of guide you through and guide you through the breath here for our centering. So just really sink into this pose. Notice how your body feels. Also, if you need support, you can stick a blanket or a pillow between your thighs and your calves if you need to sit your butt up a little bit, or that bolster or pillow underneath your chest. You're always welcome to take more of a restorative child's pose. So just settle into this pose. Notice how your body feels. Really let your body sink down here into this pose. And just notice how your body feels. Notice how you feel physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically. Just building up a picture of how you feel before this practice. And then I want you to begin to notice your breath here in this pose. So it might be a little bit restricted because of the position. Maybe you can't breathe into your belly as deep, and that's okay, just notice that. And then if you can't breathe into your belly as deep, I want you to notice where, or try to find where else you can find space. So maybe it's the back body. Maybe you're filling up more into your back ribs and your shoulders. Inhale through your nose, draw the breath up through your toes, fill all the way up through the spine. Fill up belly, ribs, chest, all the way up through your shoulders and your arms and your fingertips. Exhale out of your mouth. Sigh it all out. We'll take a couple more rounds like that. Inhale, draw the breath up through the bottoms of your feet. Let the breath fill up through your knees, your hips, your belly, ribs, chest, shoulders, fingertips. Hold at the top. Exhale, let it all out of your mouth like you're sighing it all out. Last one like that. Inhale, fill all the way up to the top. Hold. Exhale, let it all go. Good, now seal your lips. And I want you to begin to inhale and exhale through your nose. Constrict the back of your throat slightly, making audible ocean wave noises with the breath for Ujjayi Pranayama, or ocean sounding breath. And I want you to take this breath, cultivate a rhythm in this breath. And this is the rhythm that you'll ride the entire practice. So keep this going. And as you're sitting here in your child's pose and breathing, I'm going to read a little something to you. Touch the eternal. My friend, a clerk in a local bookstore, and I were sitting on a bench one evening about 20 feet from the edge of the Pacific Ocean. A few stars and a tiny sliver of moon softly lit the sky. We were drinking coffee and staring at the sea. I like the ocean, my friend said. I need to see it. It's nature's way of reminding us of eternity. Sometimes we zoom in on the details of our lives, and all we can see is the small picture, the problems, issues, and specifics of what we need to do today. These moments are real. They're the heart of our lives. It's good to stay focused and attend to them, but sometimes we need to step back and see the big picture too. Visit places that remind you of eternity when you can. See the mountains, see the stars, walk among the ancient redwoods, stand at the ocean's door. Let nature and life remind you of eternity in ways that speak to your soul. So if you can, do this practice outside in nature and notice how that feels. It's always good to get out in nature, especially if you're stressed out and need space. Good. On your next inhale, go ahead and make your way up into a tabletop pose and grab a block or your item that you're using or not using. Again, you can do this without your block. Place the block between your thighs. And I want you to really squeeze the block between your thighs. So we're in tabletop pose. You can have your feet tucked. Bring your shoulders right over your wrists. Grip the mat with your fingertips. So I'm really contracting my inner thighs here to squeeze this block. You're going to inhale, melt your belly down, lift your chin for cow pose. Exhale, round the spine up and back for cat. We're going to do that again. Inhale, melt the belly, lift the chin for cow. Exhale, round the spine up and back for cat. One more. Inhale, melt the belly, lift the chin. Exhale, round the spine up and back. Hold it here. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees about 1 inch off of the mat. Squeeze that block. On your next inhale, melt your belly, lift your chin for cow pose. Keep the knees lifted. Exhale, round the spine up and back for cat. Again, inhale, melt your belly, lift your chin, cow. Exhale, round the spine up and back for cat. Inhale, melt the belly, lift the chin, cow. Exhale, round the spine back for cat. Last time here. Inhale, hammock the belly down, lift your chin. Exhale, round the spine up and back, hold. Press your hands into the mat. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, lower your knees all the way down. Good. Now from here, you're going to step your hands one full palm print forward. Spread your fingers wide, tuck your toes, lift your knees up, come into high plank. Squeeze that block. Now, if you need to modify, you can bring your knees down, but then I want your body in one straight line from your knees to your shoulders. So squeeze that block and plank. Again, think about pressing the mat away or the ground away instead of holding yourself up. So really be active here. Feel your shoulder blades split apart. Reach your collarbones forward. Gaze is at the top of your mat. Squeeze your butt, squeeze your thighs. Everything is active. Take big, deep breaths. Stay with that Ujjayi breath that you cultivated at the beginning of practice. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, roll all the way back into downward facing dog. Squeeze that block. If you want to pedal at the feet, you're welcome to do that. Let your head hang, grip the mat with your hands. Keep squeezing that block. Good. On the inhale, roll your way forward. Really roll through the spine here. Come back into plank pose. Go ahead and lower down onto your knees. And on the exhale, come all the way down onto your belly. If you need to remove the block here, it's getting in the way, you're welcome to do that, but keep it close. We're going to use it again. So hands underneath your shoulders. Press the tops of your feet into the mat. Inhale, lift. Come into baby cobra. Maybe your fingertips lift up off of the mat. Engaging the entire back body here. Exhale, forehead to the mat. Shift your hands back so that they're underneath your elbows. Inhale, lift up into full cobra. And just let's take a few breaths here. Stretching out the front body, the hip flexors. Big deep breaths here. Good. Stay here for the inhale. Exhale, lower all the way back down. We're going to come back up one more time. So we're going to inhale, press back up into cobra pose. Exhale, tuck your toes. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Good. So we're going to come back to the block. So grab the block or your item, place it between your legs, come back into a downward facing dog. Squeeze that block between your thighs. Good. Stay for the inhale. And then exhale, begin to walk your hands back to your feet. Keep squeezing that block. You can bend your knees slightly here. Let the top of your body hang. Let your arms hang. Let your head hang. You can shake your head yes and no. If you want to clasp your hands and rest them on the back of your head, this might be good for a back of the neck stretch, upper back. And you can bring weight into your toes and then into your heels. See what that feels like. Keeping the block squeezed between your legs. Just let gravity take over your head and your arms here. Go ahead and come back into stillness. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, bend your knees. Begin to roll up one vertebra at a time, still squeezing that block between your thighs. All the way up to stand. Sweep your arms up on the inhale. Reach the fingertips back. Exhale, bring your palms down to your heart center. Inhale, lift the arms up long. Grab opposite elbows. Stay for the exhale. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and then exhale, side bend to your right. Keeping the weight evenly distributed in your feet. So all four corners of each foot should be pressing into the mat here. Slight bend in your knees. Don't lock out the knees. Good. Inhale back through center. Lift up out of your hips and then exhale, side bend to your left. Again, keeping the weight evenly distributed in your feet, keeping that block squeezed. Good. Inhale back through center. And then exhale, bend into your knees, sit back into your heels, make your way into chair pose, Utkatasana. So again, all 4 corners of your feet are pressing into the mat here. Pelvis is tucked. Arms are next to your ears. Sink a little deeper. No. Excuse my dog. Hey. Stay in this pose, get a little bit deeper. Lay down. Moose. Moose. Good. Sink a little bit deeper. We're almost there. Lay down. Hey. Good. Stay for the inhale. Exhale. Bend, fold forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, bring your palms down to your heart. Hey. Inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, dive forward, forward fold. This time I want you to walk your hands out into plank pose. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, lower down onto your knees or stay up into plank and then exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, shift forward, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Go ahead and grab the block and place it at the top of your mat. And then from here, inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, you can walk, step, hop, make your way to the top of the mat into an active squat. So active squat is different than chair pose. Your feet are going to be on the edges of your mat, toes pointed out to about a 45-degree angle. Grab your block. Press the block out in front of your chest and squeeze it between your hands. Sink a little bit lower, knees are a little bit wide here. And feel that buoyancy. Maybe pulse up and down here, still connecting all 4 corners of the feet with the mat. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale, bring the block back to your chest. Sink your hips down and squeeze the block between your hands. Go lay down. Go. Good. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, lower the block down to the front of the mat. Plant the hands. Inhale, come into plank. Exhale, you can lower down onto your knees, lower halfway. Inhale, shift up for cobra or upward facing dog. And then tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward dog. We're going to go through that 2 more times. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, you can make your way into active squat. Grab your block, reach the block out in front of you, chest is forward, sink your hips down, knees are wide. Inhale, lift up and back, press the hips forward. Exhale, bend your knees, squeeze the block in front of your chest. Stay here, get low. Hinge forward, tip your pelvis bones forward. Set the block down, plant the hands, inhale, step back, high plank. You can lower down to the knees or not. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, shift forward, upward dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward dog. Last time here. Inhale, look long, bend knees. Exhale, make your way to active squat. Grab the block, press the block forward, sink your hips down. Inhale, lengthen up to the sky. Exhale, press the block in front of your chest, bend your knees, sink back into active squat. Good, stay for the inhale. Exhale, place the block to the top of your mat, plant your hands, step back, high plank. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, shift forward, upward dog. Exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up to the sky, bend your knee. Try to bring that left heel down to the mat. And now we're just circling out the hips. So you can make big circles with the knees here if you'd like, or with the knee, I should say. You can even extend the leg. to really feel that extension in the right hip. And the exhale, lower the foot down. Inhale your left foot up to the sky. Same thing, bend the knee. Try to touch your butt with your heel. You can take a big circles here if you'd like. Really stretching out that hip flexor all the way up through the quad. Try to keep that right heel lowered if you can. Exhale, lower, back down into downward facing dog. Come all the way down onto your knees. Grab your block, sit back onto your butt. So now, the rest of the practice, we're just gonna slowly stretch out. So you have a couple of options here. We're gonna come into a forward fold. So lengthen your legs out long. Point the toes up to the sky. You have some options. So plant your sits bones down and into the mat. Lengthen the spine. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, fold forward over the legs. You can have your knees bent if you'd like. You'll still feel a nice stretch with this. If you have a towel or a strap or something like that, you can loop it around the arches of your feet to help assist you in this stretch. Doesn't matter how far you go here. That is really not the point. It's just to get the hamstrings lengthened and stretched out. What kind of space can you find in your hamstrings? Now, if you want to use the block and you can go further, you can place the block at the bottoms of your feet and hold on to the block here. You can even set up onto the block and notice what that feels like, and then fold forward over your legs. Either way, just breathe here. Notice how you feel. Notice the heat you created, especially in your legs, but really in the entire body. Good. Go ahead and come down off of the block. We're going to bend our knees in. I'm going to stay like this for a second. So come into butterfly pose. So feet together here. And then you're going to fold forward over your legs. Feel that stretch in the inner thighs, maybe a little bit in the outer thighs. You can stay here, or again, if you have a prop, a couple of options here. You can bring this block underneath your feet. This just makes it a little bit more intense, gets it maybe a little bit more into the outer thighs. I feel this a lot in my outer thighs and in my lower back. It's a really nice low back stretch. Breathe here. Go ahead and make your way back up. This time, go ahead and lengthen your legs out long to the sides. You're going to lift up your butt a little bit here, scooch forward if you need to. Point the toes up. We're going to get more into the inner thighs here, so go ahead and hinge forward. You can use the block here if you need to. You can use props. Sometimes it's nice to stack props and rest your forehead down. If it's available to you and you can go deep into this pose, you can rest your forehead onto the block all the way down here. Don't worry about the aesthetics though. Don't worry about the fact that maybe you can't get down that far. Again, that's not what it's about. You know, this practice is a practice. So flexibility is a practice. The goal right now is to just get a nice stretch and breathe into the muscles that you feel being stretched out here. Nice deep breaths. Good. Inhale, walk your way up. We're going to come onto our backs here, but first we're going to do a little bit of core work. So bring the block back between your thighs. You're going to come up into high boat pose. If you want to grab behind your knees for support, that's fine. But try to bring your shoulders back and down onto your spine, straight spine here. We're going to exhale. Inhale, lengthen out into low boat. Exhale, high boat. Inhale, low boat. Exhale, high boat. To modify this, bring your hands down. Inhale, low. Exhale, high. This is still core work. So go where, or meet yourself where you are, is what I should say. We've got 5 more. 5, 4, squeeze that block. 3, 2, last one, hold. Go ahead and lower it all the way down. Bend your knees, plant your feet up by your butt. Touch your Achilles tendons with your fingertips. Squeeze that block. Inhale, lift your hips, come into bridge pose. Really try to squeeze this block here. Press your hips up. I feel this a lot in my quads and in my hip flexors. Feels nice. One last breath here. Stay for the inhale. Exhale, lower down 1 vertebra at a time. Set your hips down. Grab the block. Lift your hips back up. Slide the block underneath your hips. And then just extend your legs out long here. We're going to be here for several rounds of breath. You might have to adjust the block a little bit. For this pose, I like it more underneath my butt than underneath my low back. So adjust it to where it feels comfortable in your body. And just really feel the hip flexors, maybe the psoas stretch out here. You might feel your quads a little bit. And just relax here. How is your breath? Stay with the breath. Inhale your right leg up into your chest. Notice how that feels. Maybe bring that right knee up into your right armpit. Try to keep that left hip down, but notice if there is more of an intense stretch in the left hip flexor now. Up through the hip. There may or may not be, but there probably is. So just notice how that feels. And then go ahead and switch sides. Lengthen your right leg. Bring the left knee into your chest. Maybe bring it out into your left armpit again. Keep that right hip down. Don't let it creep up. Maybe put your hand down on your right hip, but really notice the stretch here. The more you bring your left leg or your left knee out to the side, the more you might feel it stretch in throughout this right hip. And you can circle out the knee here if that feels good. Good. Go ahead and bring both knees up into your chest. Lift the legs straight up into the air. Come into supported shoulder stand. You may have to shift the block around just a little bit. That's fine. Just get a nice little modified inversion here. Let the energy flow in the opposite direction. You can roll out your ankles. Again, stay with your breath. No matter if you're moving quickly and you're doing a more challenging practice, or if you're not moving at all and you're just sitting in a stretch, always keep your breath going. Keep that ujjayi breath. And if you make your exhales longer than your inhales, you'll stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, which will calm your body down. It's the rest and digest part of the nervous system. So maybe counting the breaths 4 in and 5 out, or 5 in and 6 out, whatever the number is. The exhale is going to be longer. Good. Go ahead and bend your knees, lift your hips, set your block out to the side. And then from here, just bring your right ankle onto your left knee, bring your knee up into your chest. And you can hang out here. I like to rock back and forth sometimes to massage out my low spine. And then when you're ready, you can bring that whole shape over to the left. So bring your legs over to the left, extend your right arm out long. And you can adjust your legs and your hips here however you need to get deeper into this twist. Just try to keep your right shoulder down as an anchor. It doesn't matter if this top knee makes it all the way to the ground or not. Go ahead and make your way back through center. Of course, this is your practice, so if you want to stay in these poses a little bit longer, feel free. Left ankle onto right knee. Hug the knee into your chest. Feel that stretch in the left outer thigh mainly. You can take movement here. Just really do whatever feels good in this pose. And then whenever you are ready, you can drop the legs to the right, extend your left arm out long, keep the left shoulder blade on the mat. Adjust your legs and your hips however you need to. Really feel this spinal twist here. Breathe into it. Whenever you inhale, try to lengthen the spine a little bit more. Whenever you exhale, twist a little deeper into this pose. Good. Inhale, make your way back up through center. Last pose here, hug your knees into your chest, grab for the outsides of your feet for happy baby. I love ending in happy baby, so if there's another shape that you would rather take, you're welcome to take that here. This is all about listening to what your body needs. I'm just guiding you through these shapes. So if you need to stay here longer, pause the video and lay in these shapes. You're always welcome to do that. It's all about listening to what your body needs. And then whenever you're ready, make your way into your Shavasana. So your Shavasana can look like any shape. You can have your legs up the wall. For this practice, I would suggest that you take either a block or your pillow or your bolster and slide it. For the block, I would have it on its medium setting and then lay back so that it's between your shoulder blades. And then let your arms come out long to the sides. For a nice heart opener Shavasana. Or again, if you have a pillow or a bolster, you can scoot it up by your butt and then lay all the way back. This feels nice as well, or you don't have to do either one of those. You can even prop your legs up on something. Whatever feels good in your body. And just settle in here. Maybe take a few big, deep belly breaths. Inhaling and exhaling through your mouth. And after every exhale, just let your body sink a little bit deeper. Try to release any tension in your body with your breath. Let go of the tension in your face, your eyebrows, your jaw, your scalp, your tongue, your teeth. Let it all relax. You guys, I encourage you to stay in your Shavasana for at least 3 to 5 minutes longer if you can. She'll let your body have this space and this rest. But I will say namaste here. So thank you so much for joining me for this practice and sharing your energy and your breath on the mat with me today. Until we meet again, the light in me sees and honors the light inside of you. Namaste.